Next America. I'm your host, Jamie Lynn Wallnau, and I have a special treasure of a guest for you today. I call her Mama Belle, but her name is Annabelle Wallnau, my mother-in-law. I'm so excited you're here.
I am too. And I never heard Mama in Love until you said it the first time.
I love it.
Because now we are married into the families together.
Yes.
I got to get my heart
You
on.
raised my husband well. Thank you.
Love that man.
I do too. Wait, that's actually what this is going to turn into, us talking about how much we love Lance Jr.
Oh no,
just
don't
kidding.
be all
Just kidding. Okay, so I wanted to bring you on because you have such, you're like, when we sit around the table and you share stories about what you're putting your hands to, it sounds like the kind of stories that, like we hear Heidi Baker share, or you hear all these people that go overseas and they're these amazing stories and they're so thoughtful, yet these stories you're sharing are like in our backyard.
That's how come, because a lot of my friends were going to other countries to minister to the poor, and I told the Lord, I really would love to have a garden 30 minutes from my house so I could go often, because I didn't really want to just take a 24-hour flight and be able to love on people and then leave, because I get very much connection. One of my top needs is connection, and I love to be a part of somebody's full development and not just the beginning and say, you know, like something like that game, Duck, 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 Goose. I mean, really, because we go back to the families a number of times, and we love to help them become, well, not only just born again, and not only spirit-filled, but established, you know, so that they can put some roots in and come forth.
Yeah.
So, and that's not a prerequisite, by the way, because we don't even start to try to pray with them till like the fourth or fifth visit.
Wow.
Because we aren't pushing anything. We are just coming up like Jesus with skin on. We show up and we just love them.
Yes.
That's all our agenda is.
You're just led by the Holy Spirit. Well, this is what I love. Some people have no idea what we're talking about yet, because you started a ministry called Furnishing Families of Texas. And now my husband works alongside you, which is so fun.
It's a two-pair.
Yes. So.
Because you moved home.
We did.
You guys lived in San Antonio so long I couldn't even.
It's so nice.
Ask.
Now we're not 5 hours away after a beautiful dinner party. Okay, so how would you describe Furnishing Families of Texas? And then I want to go back to how it started.
Well, I would just describe us as a ministry that are helping to meet needs. I find a lot of people that are in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, food, shelter, and clothing those needs are not met. The family this week had 7 children living in their current apartment over 1 year and not one stitch of furniture, not one bed. Wow. And they've lived there a year. They're survivors. They know how to function in that environment. Maybe they're not thriving or flourishing the way they could, but in other words, a lot of people in our society, in our zip code, and around us in other 30-minute radius live this way. And so our opportunity is to bring in, especially for the children, we do care about the families, the mothers, the fathers, everyone. This was the first family that had a mother and a father. I feel that our real difference is being made to the children. Right. Because in their case, the mom and dad may have lived like this their whole life. But the children, they have like a new view after they meet us or we meet them. And even the idea of what happens to them by sleeping on a bed every night compared to a floor. Right. We have that early example of Tylen Richards, whose son DeMarcus became #1 in math in 2nd grade in his whole school. And the mother called me, Tylen called and said, we know it's because he gets a good night's sleep every day, because he never was excelling in school in any subject. So she felt like his focus was increased by being able to be rested properly.
See, and that's what's so crazy is we really have, I went to ministry school in Mozambique for 3 months, and I remember Heidi Baker saying one of the hardest places to minister the gospel would be in America, because everybody believes they have what they need. But really, we're so used to our way of comfort and living, we don't know what's in our own backyard unless somebody like you shares, or somehow our eyes have to be opened to what we've been desensitized to, or just truly have no ideas going on. Yeah. So when you look back, I love this story. So how did this start? Like, what initiated this huge operation that's taking off right now?
It just Lance Jr. moved away a few years ago, and his room was vacant. And We didn't use it. And suddenly I started using his bed like an extra big table to throw stuff on if I was working in the kitchen, at the kitchen table, on a project. And I walked in his room one day and my feet were like squish, squish, squish in water. I was like, and it wasn't on the edges of the rug, it was in the middle. I thought our foundation exploded or something. I didn't know what happened. I was like, Lance, there's no way, what the heck is going on in here? So my husband came in and he's like, this is not good. So we had to get the restoration company, and then they had to take all the furniture out and cut the wall and rip out the floor. And it actually was a leak from the bathroom that went underneath the wall. And we didn't know. It's under the sink. The sink was leaking. Anyway, slow leak for a long time. But anyway, so I called the Center for Transforming Lives because I was working with them, and I knew that they place single moms in homes, and they always need furniture. So I asked who needed a bedroom set, and they said Tylin. And so I called Tylin and arranged the delivery, and she said, could you please bring can you get a bed for my 7-year-old? He never slept on a bed in his life. And I said, wait, what does that mean? Never slept on a bed in his life? And she goes, well, he slept on an air mattress, he slept on the car, he slept on the floor, he slept on the mattress, air mattress, but he never slept on a regular bed mattress. And I told my friend Wanda, and she's like, not on my watch. So Wanda bought the first mattress, and that was how it started. I mean, we've already bought we're up to about 140 beds, I think, right now.
That's amazing.
I know, it's so funny. But there's such a need. I want to just say that you may think that our ministry exploded and we're huge. Well, we're still very small compared to the need. Now that the word is getting out, all these people are contacting me who really want their 6 people or their 5 families, or their shelters are releasing families and they don't have any furniture, or they can get a bed but they can't get furniture. And so we're taking index cards and putting everybody's exact information with the date we find out about it. Because right now, I'm trying to do it in order.
Wow.
Because there's still people from January that are waiting for things that we couldn't get. Because we're only starting out by giving a bed, And now it's like, but I need a dining room table. I need a couch. It's amazing. So to really, really thrive in your environment, it's great to be able to sit down on a chair and have a table. Most people like me, I actually can't sit on the floor and do anything very well because it's not posturepedic for me.
Right.
So I need to sit on a chair and to have the good thought and be able to stand up and just and be on the edge of function, not be in the throes of beanbag.
Right.
So, but I think a lot of people are like that. So that's why you see the response so strong, because they love how it makes them feel and energy rises. And
this sounds so crazy for me to even say, but I remember even our school in Mozambique, you sat on the concrete for class, and even in the tiny chairs we had that weren't real chairs, it was so painful on our body. But literally, people live without furniture. They don't have a place to sit. They don't even have what we had when we were just traveling.
But just think of this mom who has been without any furniture over a year, who's pregnant, of this family of 7, who's actually due to deliver in December, and she's quite large with child. And when we brought that couch in, she kind of stayed there the whole rest of the time we were there.
Aww.
And I just thought, how did she do it? How does she actually do it?
Yeah.
It doesn't even, it's not like it was a pretense.
Right.
It's a true story.
Well, I want to hear more stories. We're going to take a short break. I love this. We're going to dive more into families and what God's doing in America and families when we get back.
I think the beautiful thing about Furnishing Families is it's a local solution to a local problem. We get to see what communities should look like and could look like, because this whole neighborhood, everyone's looking out for each other, and there would be boxes and bins of things that someone could take. It's like, this is your size, and this is your size, and this is your size. But I've heard several people today be like, you know what? No, I actually have enough for me. Let's save that for someone else who needs it. And everyone was just looking out for each other and helping each other find what they needed. And it honestly was so cool and kind of convicted me. I don't really know of that mentality anywhere else. I feel like the world is so greedy, but this is just an actual community where everyone is looking to help each other and love each other and bless each other, and we could all afford to learn from that.
Welcome back to The Next America. I'm your host, Jamie Lynn Wallnau, and our beautiful, lovely, lively guest, My mother-in-law, Annabelle Wallnau.
Lively guest.
I was trying vivacious,
That's
beautiful. Wonderful. Okay, we were just talking about Furnishing Families of Texas, and if you missed the beginning of it, I want to encourage you to go back and listen because Mama Belle, that's really hard for me to call you Annabelle, but Annabelle, just like grassroots created Furnishing Families of Texas by this beautiful story she shared. And so I would love to dive more into like what is happening with Furnishing Families of Texas and how it's changed your life and how it's evolving. I know it's a lot. I just want you to talk about it. Just go.
Well, what happened really was, Lance Wallnau Ministries, we already had a storage unit because our people who did our duplication and replication, they gave us all their furniture when they closed, all their desks, so much good stuff. So we still had it, and that's why when I first met Tylin and gave her that bedroom furniture and then got her son a bed, and I started to realize the chain reaction, people calling who she knew, can you get me a bed? Can you get me a bed? Hey, I heard you got them a bed. Can you get? And so I started grabbing beds and then nightstands. I started going to secondhand stores and putting them in that storage and started, oh, I see you're getting rid of that table. Can I have it? Boom. And then Upscale Resale is another fantastic place, secondhand store to buy things very inexpensively. And they also go on sale, which is like giveaway and estate sale. So my thing is that when you ask a question like, what was your exact question that you just asked me?
Like because it started with Tylin.
Right.
And so now it's evolving into more and just the stories of how it's happening.
Yeah, because I just feel like anybody who begins to see a need in their neighborhood or in a friend, like it could start out with even a student that you know who doesn't have furniture for college.
Right.
Or it could start out with just your best friend's cousin who says they're moving but they don't have any furniture. Because what I found is people throw out amazing things. We make fun of I grew up with six siblings and my parents, and we called it curbside acquisitions. Because when you would drive around and see something really good in the curb, and you thought it was really good, you could just take it home. Like we refinished oak bureaus. We finished so many beautiful things that are still in our homes. And so somebody would be like, but that wouldn't be our reaction. Our reaction would be like, yes.
You can make something beautiful from it.
But you can give so many things away. And the thing I say is to repurpose. Things can be repurposed right and left. So I would just inspire people to think of how to get rid of things instead of chucking them, give them away. And in our case, when we started this, well, it was almost 3 years ago when I met Tylin and then a couple of families with her. But the last couple of years, it grew and grew. But by March, when COVID hit, nobody was receiving donations. Right. So people would hear of my name. They said, I'd say, how did you hear of me? They go, I don't know. I said, oh, my name is in the wind. Because somebody prophesied that God put my name in the wind.
Wow.
And I never even heard that saying before.
Right.
And I thought, they put my phone number in the wind too, because I'm not even listed. How fun. But the point I'm saying about it is that's how it all really, really kicked off when this millionaire named Carl texted me and said, I have four-car garage full of things to give you. Can you bring over 2 tractor trailers or 2 26-foot trucks? I said, wow, that's a lot of stuff. Can I see it? And I went over to see it, and sure enough, it was beautiful things because he bought a mansion that was already furnished.
Right.
And he said, these are all my life furniture. I'm not going to keep it. It doesn't match the style. I was like, oh, so many beautiful things, but so much more posh than my people. But the thing about it is some of it fit, but some of it didn't. But that's where the speed picked up in March. So when most people were shutting down, we were expanding. That's where we had to get the warehouse. We couldn't fit all that in the storage unit. And then we had a 1,000 square foot. Then we got 2,500 square foot and a 1,000 and a few storages just for the clothing,
That's amazing. That's even just goes to show somebody who's faithful with that nudge, how much God can do. It's like the snowball effect. It just keeps building up momentum. And
yeah, because it's what can you do with what's in your hand?
Right.
Well, like when that gentleman offered us all those things and we said, do you care what we do with them? Because it's not going to really fit in most of our demographics' homes. He goes, I don't care what you do with them. I just want to park my car in my new house garage. And I haven't been able to. So I said, do you care if it goes on our studio? Do you care if it goes in our office headquarters? He said, no, I don't care. So I'm saying that because a lot of things that are even in our studio are from him.
That's amazing.
And he just wanted us to be blessed.
Right.
So that's a cool attitude. So then you feel like, oh, anybody can bless anybody. It's not limited to a ministry blessing somebody.
Right.
A neighbor could bless another neighbor. And some neighbors are put off if you take stuff out of their trash. My son is like, Mom, it's COVID. You do not pick up any curbside acquisition. I was like, okay. And I didn't really for all those months. I just started again recently. But let's face it, stuff's being used really well.
Well, and people need it. I mean, it's crazy to me to even hear, you had a story about blinds. Do you remember?
Oh, the blinds that my friend picked up out of when she was dumpster diving?
Oh no, that is funny though. No, the story, the families in Dallas that have never even had blinds.
Oh, they don't have them because they've just
never
put up
had
those
them.
bedspreads.
Right.
And it's just an awful dark apartment all the time, dingy. A lot of those apartments don't even have lights on their ceiling. So unless we bring them those lamps for all those end tables, it's dark in there. The kitchen light comes in, but it's like, and the TV light's on.
Right.
And it's funny how many times families won't have furniture, but they have a TV. Because that's like a babysitter for those kids.
Yeah.
If they didn't even have a TV, that'd even be harder.
Wow.
But we don't judge that. We look at that and realize why, how come. And the thing with our families is there's not a lot of dads around. This family we ministered to this week, there is a dad who's married to the mom, which is very rare in the families that we're drawn to somehow, because we aren't advertising and getting people to come to us that way.
Right.
It's organic.
I love that.
But
so you're building relationship with a lot of these. You're not just like giving them things and piecing out. That you have families that you're taking underneath your wing and equipping and educating.
Yeah, but that's a very, very different process that's going to take a lot more time and very much of what's the word, intentionality, because now everyone's schedule's so different. And a lot of my single moms have third shift, or they work from 4:30 to 2:30 a.m. or 3:30 a.m. or 4. Then they're sleeping when I'm up. I'm not up at those hours.
Right.
I mean, I'm not up. All I'm saying about them is like there's a lot of different hours where people are different. So you have to go. We're working on having like home packs or home meetings because we bring people to us, but we really have to go to them.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like even if they're awake, they're not with it to go to a studio and sit and learn or a warehouse. We just have to come bless them there.
I love that.
Or bless them with the meal. Listen, there's a whole there's a whole area of life skills missing. How to cook. You would be shocked how so many people eat, what they eat every day. Every day.
Right.
So we could even have classes to go to the food store and learn how to compare the ingredients, or understand a little bit more about nutrition. How come vegetables are good.
Right.
And not cereal all the time, not sugar cereal for dinner, lunch, and breakfast.
Right.
A lot of people eat that all the time, and they love it.
Right.
And it's just, anyway, one family, I gave them 6 toothbrushes because they had 5 children and a mom, and I came back and there was only 1 toothbrush, and I said, how come you guys, where's the rest of the toothbrushes? And they go, oh, we're just sharing that one. And I said, ding, on my head is thinking, you know what, you have to be careful what you say right now, and you have to understand that there's some training there that hasn't happened yet.
Right.
So that's why, even when we brought the mom this week new pots and pans, offered to throw out her old pot and pan that was all scratched up, like so much so that it was really 3-tone inside, not even just 2 colors, but like really down. She got really hopping mad at us and really raised her voice at us and said, how dare you come into my kitchen and tell me what to get rid of? This is my kitchen.
Right.
And we were like, we were asking a question and we apologized.
Right.
Just trying to help you straighten up. We were doing the dishes and we were wiping the floor up. And you know what? Everybody's in a different place. So we have to be willing to just be like a little bit of a blessing that's not needy. So we can't go in there needy ourselves to be right or to be in charge or
just the savior.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's not the goal.
Right.
Our goal is to really assist and serve.
That's good.
And it really blesses me because Lance Jr. and his friend Malaki came and then Shelley Green from the Keller Williams, a real estate company. She's lending us her truck once a week lately, and Lance has been driving it, and then Brandon and Malaki have been moving stuff, and some of the days go 12 hours.
Right.
And I said, guys, I really apologize. I know nobody was trying to make this happen this long. These are long days. And they said, we love this. Yeah. We don't change anything about it. I was like, what? And it just blew my mind because these are young men who are really loving what's happening here, And so what's nicer than that to see their gifts
They love,
now
yes, it's like making their
blessing.
heart come alive
Yeah.
to serve and love on other people.
So we had the outreach at Regency Oaks recently,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people, we had 22 volunteers. It was quite amazing. The ant farm was mobilized.
Mm-hmm.
And so Selena was, sorry, I have a Serena and a Selena in my life. Selena was making a movie, but her mom and her sister came.
Mm-hmm.
Her mom got so ignited back into her serving, because they used to always feed the homeless in the city and stuff. They haven't done it in a decade almost, she said.
Right.
But now she's back and driving her bus, and she sees a lady who's sitting on the side of the road in her car. And she actually, has pulled over and talked to her and finds out that the lady is homeless and lives in her car.
Wow.
And so she's just so excited. She prays with the lady, and she's just so ecstatic about this because she's back in the saddle.
Right.
And so I know I may have
We were
already
made
told
for
this story,
this.
but everybody's made to be alive spiritually
Right.
and tangibly.
Right.
And who is your neighbor?
Right.
Well, that's a good question.
That's
So
good.
we're just loving our neighbor.
I love that. We're going to hop into a break real quick, and we'll be back with more beautiful ways that you can get involved and be part of the solution with families here in America. We are demolishing the works of the enemy, and we are making Jesus Lord again in this amazing nation, and we're doing it through media. My name is Jamie Lynn. I'm the host of Set Apart podcast and the Next America Show. I cannot do this without your support and your help, and my dream and my desire is to hire a team to provide content for Christians to take down the enemy and make Jesus Lord in every sphere of influence. If you'd like to join us, go to jamielynwallnau.com today and join our tribe. Welcome back to The Next America. I'm your host, Jamie Lynn Wallnau, and I'm here with my mother-in-law, Annabelle Wallnau. And we are discussing what's happening here in the DFW area with inner city families. And you may be wondering how this applies to The Next America. And we want to invite Christians into a place of being proactive. So you may be sitting at home thinking, wow, these stories are really amazing. And if you're just tuning in and you haven't heard the stories, I encourage you to go back and listen to them. But Mama Belle, Annabelle, how can people at home be a part of something so beautiful? Because you're telling these stories, and the thing that's cool is when people show up to the warehouse that you have and they see tangibly with their eyes all that you're doing, or all that's happening, and how the community is just coming together and building momentum with this beautiful ministry. It's like you get sucked in, because your heart comes alive.
I know. Somebody just delivered a donation yesterday, and I got an email from them last night, and they said, wow, I had no idea what you guys were really doing. Can I come and volunteer?
Wow.
And so I actually didn't get to write back. I started to write to her, and I had to come, I wanted to have time to think about what to say. But the thing is that everybody can be a part in some element in your own community.
Right.
Like, it doesn't have to be through Furnishing Families. And I was spinning through my email one day, and I saw an app that was called Neighborhood Watch or Neighborhood something. And not an app, but it was an email from them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was noticing people were offering to get rid of stuff. Does anybody who picks up? Because most of the main agencies weren't picking up right now.
Right.
And so I wrote back and said, if you didn't have a chance to find somebody, consider Furnishing Families of Texas, because we can come pick it up and give it to somebody else. And actually, since then, I received a white leather surround couch, sectional, beautiful, and a dining room table and hutch. And and they already are in other homes. And I just was so blown away that was a resource, because I'm not social media minded like Lance. I mean, Lance Jr.'s come aboard, and he's going to help me do all that. Right. I actually I'm in perpetual motion. I find that very slowing me down. Mm-hmm. It's not where I like to relax, because I have trifocals. So I'm not really on my phone all the time or on my computer all the time. Plus, I edited for 32 years straight.
Yes.
Enough said.
You're like, I paid my dues.
Give the eyes a break. No, I'm kidding. But all I'm saying about it is, truthfully, everybody has something that they can do. People have time. I've met so many people. I've met 12 different people in the last month who said, wow, I have so much free time. I could do something. I have so much free time that I'm not doing anything. And I said, wow, that's rare. That's wonderful. Like, to think like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I don't mean just plug in with me. I mean, you can plug in anywhere. Right. There's so many needs all around us.
Right. I love that. I think what's interesting is that, well, not what's interesting, but the truth is some people just don't know, like if they're in another city tuning in, what would an action be? What would you say one of the first steps would be for them to plug in to their community?
You know what? I would look around at the children. The children are the real indicator. Even if you started out with going to the secondhand stores and buying up, like upscale resale, they have their clothes are always like $1.99 each, and maybe they go up to $3.50. But they have sales every day. Sometimes I can get a garbage bag of $5
Right.
for clothes, a whole bag.
Right.
Or like the other day, I got $1 a piece. So I always go in there once a week and just pick up as much clothes as are in great shape, because a lot of people give away beautiful clothing, and children don't have it. They can't wait. So we wash them, and then we put them in bins with sizes, and then we let them choose.
Right.
And so that's very empowering to choose your own clothes,
Right.
especially if you're a little
That's
kid.
true.
But the little kids want the whole bin. I'm like, you can't have the whole bin. You get to have 3 of those and 3 of those, and we have to share. So
Right.
they don't even know share because they don't have anything.
Right.
So anyway, it's all, but that's relative. So you might say, well, I don't have a good secondhand store near me, so I don't know. Go through your own clothes and get rid of what you don't wear, maybe, and start with giving something.
Right.
God will
And
multiply
sewing,
it, though.
And sewing, people can sew into different ministries. They can give to different ministries. But before we close out the show, I really want to hear what you see in the next America with families.
I think in our country right now, and especially with the demographic of the single moms I'm with and the children don't have dads who come around, it's a very big deficit. Like we could talk about nutrition deficit, but we can talk about that love tank deficit is incredible. And the lack of discipline in the family. Like our children growing up, I'd say, why do the kids do what you say when you say it once? And I said it 4 times. They didn't do it yet. He goes, well, then Lance Jr. or Carl, they go, Daddy's got spankings in his voice. You know, and I was like, oh my gosh, is that it? So, but I do know that there's an ingredient that comes from the dad in the identity of a child.
Right.
It's in the Bible. God
Right.
said it. And it's lacking. So if you tell me that 55% of our marriages in America end up in divorce, that's a statistic in the United States. I don't know about the whole world, but I do know that these single parent families is tough on the kids.
Right.
It's probably just as tough on the, I was always saying in all these interviews that my husband traveled a lot when we had children growing up, but he always came home.
Right.
And he was always a big part of their life.
Right.
And so but the difference is a lot of these families that dad never comes home. And if he ever shows up, he's abusive to the children and says the wrong thing. He shouldn't even have access to them.
Right.
He's actually hurting them by
Right.
what he says. So that is, to me, a vital sign. I'm a fruit inspector. I'm over here reading the vital signs of our country, family, and saying,
Right.
And I don't pretend to have the total answer, but I am calling forth 100 acres of land to build a city. I'd like a little 7M city, maybe a prototype of what would have to be in there. And you know the first thing is affordable housing. Because
Yes.
guess what? These people can't afford their house,
Yeah.
their apartment, excuse me. Most of them work
Right.
minimum wage.
Right.
If you add up $8 times 40, $320 a week, take out the taxes, and then all of a sudden you got to add up for 4 weeks to make your rent because you can't even equal it out. And then you have to buy food, pay the rent, maybe no electricity. Oh, should we pay the gas?
Right.
So I don't know the answer, but I think it's wonderful when these moms want to work
Right.
and they want to have families, and they're doing the best they can,
Right.
but they can't make it happen without help somehow
Right.
from somewhere.
That's true. I love the vision that you have for the city and these families because you are such a family relationally driven person, and so you can see that because everybody feels so loved by you, and we can all tap into that. And I which leads me to this part. How can people find you? How can people sew into Furnishing Families of Texas?
Well, we have the website, furnishingfamiliesoftexas.com, which I know it's a long mouthful. But once you put it in your browser, it will always populate when you start. Bink,
Yay.
press, continue. But anyway, the thing about it is enter. You can give donations, you can give things, you can email. There's my Annabelle at furnishingfamiliesoftexas.com. Sorry, it's so long. Email, and people, in the Metroplex, because we can drive up to an hour to pick things up.
Wow.
And that's an option, but you can get involved on a local level without any of that.
Right.
By looking around. And you can ask your schools if the children look like if they're looking clean when they come. Are they wearing
Right.
the same clothes every day?
Right.
And you know what? I even talked to a pastor in a restaurant in DC at one of the inauguration times, and he's got a store for free in the grade school, in the old classroom that's not being used. He had all these racks of brand new things for the kids to go pick out, take home, but it didn't work in 7th grade because of peer pressure and image-based picking on kids who want to go and get their clothes in there. He said it works up to 6th grade. Successfully in many schools,
Right.
he's got it. So that's another thing maybe we should think about, especially now,
I love
the
that.
schools are half empty.
That's
So I don't
good.
know, but
I love that.
creativity.
I love that. There's so many different areas we can serve families in America. And thank you so much for being a guest. I love you. It's fun. I thought it would be awesome. I'm so honored that you would come and share, because I think sitting around the dinner table hearing your stories makes my heart come alive. And I wanted as many of my friends to hear about this as possible. So thank you. So
Thank you.
go to furnishingfamiliesoftexas.com and check out how you can support, donate, be a part of this, serve. It's really fun. It's really fun to be around the energy and the love. It's like the kingdom of heaven. This is the church reaching out into the neighborhoods and providing for people who cannot. And then it's contagious. It just duplicates all over the place and all over your city. So what we do today determines the next America, and you and I play a big part of that. My hope is that you are getting educated, well-informed, and empowered to move forward with solutions from heaven to change America for the better, to duplicate heaven on earth. And so if you'd like to see more episodes, please go subscribe to Jamie Lynn Wallnau YouTube channel, or you can catch me at jamielynwallnau.com, and you can find every media influence thing I'm touching at this moment in time. Past episodes, future episodes you'll find on our YouTube channel. And follow us on Instagram at The Next America Show.
Love
Thank
it.
you, and we'll see you soon.